ilaha illa Allah. And that's right, we're right across the river from Palestine, as a matter of fact, here in Aqaba. The new moon, the Hilal, has been sighted for the month of Shawwal.
When the adhan is called, it doesn't matter where you are. You go and you make your salah, alhamdulillah.
Now, I think this is something that, inshallah ta'ala, we'll all be able to benefit from.
And we're coming to you almost live from our studios right here in Southern California. Yes, and tonight we have, once again, we have our doctors with us to tell us about the subject for tonight. And to open it up, let's start with our doctor all the way in St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah. Let's put him up here. And Dr. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, Dr. Sultan.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Great to have you with us again tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm in a fantastic mood, fantastic weather, 60 degrees. You know, it will envy Florida. So I'm proud of it, having such a good, nice day, sunny day, and beautiful day. So let's get started.
Yes, sir. All right, let's introduce our other guest. Tonight we have also, and you've seen him here before if you watch our program on a regular basis, Dr. Ado. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. How's everything there in Tampa?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Very good, very good.
All right. So, gentlemen, I leave the floor to you guys. Tell us what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Well, a very interesting and challenging problem is facing. We've been talking about so long, you know, COVID. We're talking about how to prevent it. We're talking about how to treat it, and all those things, those acute crises. Some people getting serious COVID. Some of them, you know, disabled, some dying. Then there is now, as the time has passed, we are coming up with another very important, challenging problem with this COVID, and that is called chronic COVID infection, or chronic COVID syndrome, which is basically, it doesn't matter. Even people, what fascinating thing about this is, or disturbing thing about this is, that we understand those people who got very, very sick and, you know, and may have serious consequences afterwards. But there is a subgroup, a big subgroup, where people are having minor COVID symptoms. They think, yeah, I got the flu, I'm over with. But no. Now they are coming with all sorts of chronic symptoms which are lingering on. We don't know, since the history is short, so we don't know how long they will be there. But 1/3 of patients who had minor symptoms of COVID, now they are suffering from a lot of chronic symptoms post-COVID. You know, and practically, it is affecting any part of the body. For example, with heart, they may get shortness of breath with the heart, and they may get chest pain. With lungs having chronic side effect, having a problem with shortness of breath, unable to walk as they did before, or run means that their stamina running out. Interestingly, it is also causing what we call neuropsychiatric symptoms like depression, anxiety, memory, concentration problem, problem with what we call, what I was going to say, I mean, I know, but the word's not coming out. Along with that, this is a very, people describe it as brain fart and think clearly, you know, but really the proper English word for that is fag. Many people don't know. it can be just in which is a constellation of symptoms when they have problem with poor memory, concentration, irritability, forgetfulness, word recall, and many other symptoms which we take as granted as a part of normal brain functioning. Along with that, they're also having problem with skin, like hair loss, rashes. Even interestingly, people are losing their teeth also in post-COVID area. They're having sleep disturbance problem and many other symptoms. So now this is because the number of COVID infections all over the world, right now is like 110 million. So even if a small, here we're talking about 1/3 of people suffering from these chronic consequences. Now, even if it was a very small fraction, that would make a heck lot out of 110 million people. But we are talking about 1/3. So how many million? We are talking almost 35 million people who may suffer from this. God knows for how long. At least we have now 8-9 months, and people are suffering from this. And what impact will that really have on overall people's finances? We are talking about lost finances because of illness and social distancing, and not be able to do business as usual. Now, and when you add the healthcare bill to all these people suffering from chronic illness, which they may need antidepressant, they may need breathing medication, in which they need cardiovascular medication, and on, and psychiatric care, and this just exponential. So only God knows where is going to end. The way it looks like that, as Dr. Fauci is saying that don't expect things to normalize until 2023, at least, So this is going on and on. And then another thing in this COVID is all these variants that are coming in, and we don't know how effective the vaccine is going to be. So now they're talking about making vaccine from these variants, and then those people who are immunized with the COVID-19, now they should be, experiments are going on to give them the variant vaccine and see what impact it will have on it, any preventive effects. So it is, as we go through day to day, this problem seems to be exponentially getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Where we're going to end, only God knows. So I just wanted to throw them in here for discussion purposes, that we are not going to be over with. Even we are over with, we are not over with.
Okay, Dr. Sultana, we really appreciated that. Now, you mentioned in there the heart, and so we do have a heart specialist right here on the dais with us. So let's bring him in right now, and let's talk about the effects of these new or variant things that are coming up, and what we should be looking for, and what about the heart, all of that and more. So let's get into it, inshallah. Doctor, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much. Well, certainly, like Dr. Sultan has stated, about 1/3 of people have some sort of, chronic illness, and maybe about 25% of those who are infected with coronavirus, they do have some sort of cardiac manifestations. That could vary. People can come in with a similar picture of acute heart attack, and it looks like from the EKG and from the presentation, as well as what you call the blood test called troponin. I think we mentioned that before, TROPONINS. Troponins, this enzyme that when it's leaked out of the heart muscle, it indicates heart damage. And with all that happening, they go into the cath lab, and when they, to find out the ultimate truth, what's happening, if there's blockages or not. Well, in the case of COVID, there's not really significant blockages as we see it, but it is due to small blood clots that come and occlude the arteries, the coronary arteries, and cause that damage. And this is part of the same phenomenon that happens in the lung with the small blood clots that obstructs the oxygen exchange, and that's why when people oxygen saturation drops and become extremely short of breath and requiring supplemental oxygen. So that's one picture. The people could have arrhythmias, skipping of the heart rhythms, could have something called atrial fibrillation coming from the upper chamber of the heart, where the heart become irregular, and skipping, and also can come from the lower part of the heart. It's called ventricular arrhythmia. And the ventricular arrhythmia, sometimes it could be more life-threatening, especially when you have a weakened heart muscle. And that also, can happen when we look by the echocardiogram or sonogram of the heart. We see the heart becoming very weak and is not pumping well. So people end up presenting, like we discussed yesterday, the broken heart. They could have a similar picture of congestive heart failure, where the pumping function of the heart is becoming impaired and the heart becomes like very weak bag, if you would, not a strong, well-preserved geometry of the shape of the heart to make this pumping function efficient. And, when that happens, then the rest of the body suffers. Then the kidney suffers. They're not getting enough blood flow, so the kidney functions also become abnormal. Liver functions become abnormal. They may have a low blood pressure. They may have also, inflammation of the heart muscle itself. It's called myocarditis. All these features, whether it's congestive heart failure, whether it's arrhythmia, whether it's inflammation of the heart muscle, whether it's presenting with symptom just simulating and mimicking acute heart attack. All these are, various manifestations. Some of them may linger, for quite a while, even after the, quote unquote, patient have built immunity, and it could linger for weeks or months. It's nobody knows exactly when it goes away. But the therapies that have been important for everybody to know, that there's those people, especially end up in a hospital or an ICU or in an ER when they present an emergency room. These people should be started on blood thinners right away because of the clots phenomena that comes with COVID. And also should be started on IV steroids, dexamethasone, that's given intravenously to those patients because of the inflammation in the tissues and release of so many vasoactive substances that will, it's called cytokine storm, that will lead to further inflammation and further blood clots and further, decompensations of many organs. They could have this heart muscle function may not recover for a while to get it back where it used to be before COVID. So we definitely have challenges that nobody knows what's the long-term sequel of, but we know that those symptoms can persist for quite a while, many months after the resolution, quote unquote, of the coronavirus infection, and even with some evidence of some built immune system response in the body. So that's put us back to where we have been discussing all along, whether it's the coronavirus, the classic one, or the variants. We need to enhance and strengthen the immune body to be able to face these multiple insults and multiple exposures to coronavirus and its variants and maybe other bugs as well. by keeping the strong immune system, and by definitely optimizing the nutrition, the healthy nutrition. And in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, "Kulu halalan tayyiba." Eat what's halal, that's pork free, that does not have any contamination with any artificial materials or cancer-producing material or antibiotics or hormones or any other contamination. Just a good, wholesome food that's called halal, but it's also healthy. So this is not laden with fat or high carbohydrates that will later make people sick. So it's a definite moving target that we have to ultimately work on that, and maybe early ivermectin therapy that we talked about, IVERMECTIN therapy, would hopefully change that course for new patients or subsequently infected patients that could shorten this illness period and then enhance recovery and reduce the viral load. That will positively impact other people less likely to get infected because of less viral shedding. And that's very, very important to, when you're looking at globally, looking at the whole nation and beyond, that to prevent any future spread and reinfection. Because even the vaccine right now, yes, it does build the immune system to the COVID-19 that we know, but not to the other variants yet, because we don't have enough data to know. It's scarce and it's dispersed, and then now we have B117. We have the South African version and the UK version, and certainly it's very challenging because there is a catch up, and people get to know which one is going to work and so on. So going back to the drawing board, strengthen the immune system, improve the nutrition, take your supplement. That is the long-term policy and the long-term strategy for long-term health and wellness.
All right. So what I want to go back now to Dr. Sultan. And are you there, Doctor?
Yes, I'm here.
MashaAllah. All right. It's making me switch everything out tonight, so hold on a second.
Can people call in also if you have any questions?
I think that's a good idea too. All right, let's. I don't know if we have the number up there or not, but I think I can put it up. Let's see if I got the number. The number, yeah. Here is the number. Okay. The number is 1-800-971-4383. Okay, guys, 1-800-971-4383. And call in and ask the doctors right now whatever your question is, because we want to take your question, and then when we replay this in the future, people will get that information as well. So let's do that right now. Oh, I didn't have it switched over. Okay, here we go again. The 1-800-971-4383. 1-800-971-4383. All right? All right. Okay. Yeah. Alhamdulillah for everything. Alhamdulillah. Dr. Sultan,
Yes.
you heard what Doctor said, and you always love to talk to us about the halal food. You want to go into a little bit of depth on that?
Yeah.
The things that we always mention from the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Let's do that, okay?
Yeah. First of all, people get confused about halal and zabiyah. So let's, although it's a very simple subject, but many people do not understand. Halal is simply what Allah Ta'ala has said that you can consume, like beef, like chicken, like goat. So that is halal. Now, how this animal is killed will make all the difference. Whether it is done zabiha according to sunnah, or it will be done some other way. So many people sell it as a halal meat, and people don't realize the difference. That yes, it can be halal, but it is not zabiha. So that's what wherever you get your meat, you should make sure that it is a zabiha meat and not just saying halal meat. So that's one differentiation. Then the second thing is, you see, right now, everywhere you go, all the prepared food, whether you go to the grocery store, whether you go to a restaurant and go anywhere else, those foods are full of additives, preservatives, they are canned meats, canned foods, canned vegetables. You see, that loses a lot of its nutrition. They did one very interesting study and found that our processed food has lost 25 to 75% of its nutrition, you see. And there's a very interesting thought I'm going to present to you. Let us assume, and see what's happening to our nation right now. Let's assume that we do not know what the importance of nutrition is, so we go on a national program of restricting food nutrition from all the foods by 50%. And then we say, okay, fine, over the next few decades or a few years, whatever, we will see what kind of impact this diet is going to have on people. Well, it'll be considered highly unethical experimentation. But for the last 60 years, food industry has done exactly the same thing, feeding you canned meats, canned foods, canned vegetables, and all the stuff, which has lost 25 to 75% of its nutrition. But it is just taken as a matter of fact, and no thought process is given to that. It reminds me that there was one of the main issues in here is there was a Nobel Prize winner, I'm forgetting his name, the first name is not important. A reporter asked him, Doc, what do you think is wrong with men? He thought for a moment, when he said, men don't think. So this is what I'm going to talk to you about, thinking about your nutrition. How do you feed yourself and how you feed your family right? So first of all, as we said, as in Surah Kahf, those sleepers, when they wake up, they ask their partners that how long we slept and so forth, and say, give the money to go and get azka food from the market. So azka is such a beautiful word that we really cannot translate into English in one word. As it is translated into other languages, it may say, get a nice food, get delicious food, get clean food, so on and so forth. That's how the translators have translated the word azka. But azka really means the food that is pure, free of contamination, no additive, no chemicals, no preservatives, no cancer-causing substances have been added to it, no junk food like sugar has been added to it. This food, as Allah Ta'ala says, that do not modify my creation. So the food is not genetically modified to produce more food and which is less nutritious, and it is not produced in lands which are void of nutrients, and they can grow with artificial fertilizers and pesticides, with chemical contamination, and you get beautiful apples and you get beautiful bananas and you get beautiful other foods, or the animals are fed corn and they are fed with so much other junk in their food, which already comes into the meat. So really, what I'm talking about in here is that we have really messed up our food supply. Therefore, we need to get into some common sense things. You may throw in your towel and say, "Oh my God, that's it. You're talking about so many problems with the food supply. What do we? It's impossible. Whatever. I'm going to get my way. I'm going to eat it." Just no. So we have to do. Although we may not be able to get that azka food that we are talking about, but at least we can do is get approximately healthy food and then learn the principles of healthy meals, healthy food, and implement each time we do it, and we do it more correctly until we achieve the best what we can achieve. So let's start. I'm just going to start with very basic things. You see, the first thing is we should get junk foods out of our diet. What is junk food? Sugar, additives, preservatives, caffeine. This is alcohol, but Muslim, non-Muslim, alcohol. And these foods should be out. Number two, food should not be genetically modified. Number three, you should have fresh meats, fruits, and vegetables. This is how I advise my patients. As a starting point from going from the SAD diet with the standard American diet full of additive, preservative, and all this stuff, that start preparing food from home from scratch. Take whatever meats, vegetables you want to take, herbs, spices, make it delicious so that you can stick with this healthy diet. Avoid canned meats, canned fruits, canned vegetables, daily food at the daily food at restaurant. Not even issues, okay, restaurants. So start fresh meats, fruits, vegetables. So that is the very basic things, and to memorize that. Really, what I'm talking about is there's one sentence that will summarize what I always preach to my patients is eat what will rot and do it before it does. Means fresh meats, fruits, vegetables, grain, green beans. So that is the simple, basic, common sense thing, deviating from the SAD diet, standard American diet, coming to a food that is getting close to azka food. The canned meats, canned fruits, vegetables, I'm sorry, they are not azka food. No matter they are halal, even they are zabiya, but they have other additives, preservatives, and stuff like that that has destroyed the good part of the food. I'm going to give you a simple, very example. A peach is a beautiful, delicious, and nutritious food. Okay, if you take a peach, you can it, put your sugar in it. You make it good food as a junk food. Sometimes people may have food like strawberries, very nice. They put a little sugar or put saccharin or some NutraSweet and stuff like that to make it sweetened, thinking that, oh, we are making sweet, but we are not adding any calories to it. Well, NutraSweet is a chemical, you see. So you are taking a good food and contaminating it, not realizing what you're doing. So these are a few simple things I'm going to tell you and tell you repeatedly, because that is the basics. It is why azka food is important. Well, you see, there are three things if you can do. I can assure you that overwhelming majority of you will get help, even if you have serious health problems. No matter what health problems you have, you're very likely to get better if you have a trio of clean air, clean food, and clean water. So let me start with clean food as I give you the guidance. Now, clean water is very simple. Drink what animals drink. Drink water and be smarter than and have clean water. Soda is not a clean water, okay? And along with that, pops and all the other stuff, not good. Alcohol is not a clean water. So that's why Allah Ta'ala prohibited. And we are guided only to drink water. If we want to make it a little taste, we can have some lemon in there. We can put a little natural, if you don't want calories, we can put a natural sweetener in there, like stevia, or we can put honey or maple syrup, which are healthy sweeteners. So, but you don't put sugar in there because sugar gives you empty calories, and sugar also causes what we call insulin resistance, too much insulin, and then heart disease and coronary artery disease and obesity and hypertension and stroke and all those things. So I hope that I've given you simple, practical way to get started. That's not the end, but that's the start. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Doctor. We're going to take this short break. We're going to be right back right after the break. So I'm advising everybody out there to share this, let people know what we're doing and how they can benefit from watching Guideus TV. And at the same time, I always invite you to stay guided with Guideus TV. And here's how you can watch.
Here are some ways to get Guideus TV. Via satellite on Galaxy 19 FTA. At this satellite frequency, transponder rate 5, frequency 11836 MHz, polarity vertical, symbol rate 20770, FEC 3/4, channel ID, guideus TV. You can also download the app to your smartphone. Available for iPhones from the App Store, for Android on Google Play. And now Guideus TV is available on Roku. Get guided with Guideus TV.
And we are back live with you right now here in Guideus TV studios. We would like now to continue our discussion with the doctors about this, the way that we understand what is happening with the COVID viruses. No longer one, is it? So we want to understand what's going on. Then we want to know about the vaccination. And we also wanted to hear what we already just heard about was some of the ways to build our immune system, and what's the difference between halal food and non-halal food. And I appreciated that very much. I would like to just emphasize again what the doctor was saying about the meat. There is something called halal meat, but there is something that's called the biha. And let's be sure that we know that. Whenever we go into the store and they say the halal meat, okay, it wasn't stolen, so it'd be halal. Because all the meat here in the United States is slaughtered exactly about the way of Islam, except, like Doctor said, they don't say Bismillah. So if you have somebody that's saying Bismillah, all right, or if you know for sure a Christian or a Jew slaughtered it, okay, then you can consider this halal. But if you want the biha, then it has to be the Muslim, and he passes the knife over the area real quick. It's real sharp, and the animal doesn't feel any pain, just goes to sleep. That is the difference, okay? So want to be sure we know about that. Okay, and now we're going to come back to the subject now of the vaccines and some of the things that have been happening with the vaccine. And I'll give you one, and then we'll let the doctors expound on that one. Expound, or both. There you go. Yeah, I like that. Alhamdulillah. But I've heard that what they've found now that the vaccine, that they have a little bit left, usually about half enough for another dose, because there's several doses in each container. And so they're saying now that there's a little bit left over, and they're trying to get the permission. They don't have it yet, but they're trying to get the permission to combine two of these together from the same load, the same whatever. So,
Here are some ways to get Guideus TV via satellite on Galaxy 19.
There was some kind of waste when I think it's about 5 doses per vial, but then they found that you could squeeze in a 6th one before you throw that vial away. That will hopefully make more people have access to the vaccine. I think that was in the first days when the rollout of the vaccine. Now I think people got smarter. They got more vaccinators to inject the vaccine into the people's arms and limiting the waste that used to take place in the first few days when the vaccines were rolled out. But to put that back in perspective, Dr. Fauci and others basically said any vaccine from now on, it has to have proven efficacy to not just the COVID-19, but to all the other or most of the most common variants. Otherwise, you'll be hit and miss. You will, because of this very fast mutation that is taking place. So you may be running behind, and then there's a catch-up phenomenon that will leave so many people vulnerable and not getting the intended protection level from the vaccination. And that's why there's a going back and forth and about a third of the vaccine approved, going through approval, FDA, and the data doesn't look that strong, but there's a lot of work in progress, if you would, about who should be qualified, to make the new vaccine or the added version of the vaccine that will cover the concerns of the new variants. Still not enough data. Still not enough to make the new version of the vaccine that will be effective against those new variants. So there's still kind of a gap there of knowledge about what to do for those new variants that keeps changing, keep adding, and some of them are more virulent. We know one thing, that for the period of quarantine, if somebody was tested positive for the new variants of coronavirus, they would probably, and that's what the CDC recommended, longer duration of quarantine up to 2 weeks rather than the 1 week that was initially recommended, down from 10 days for the initial traditional, or if you would, the initial version of COVID-19 virus. So this is still the most important factors that we have to go back to the drawing board where it comes to putting the masks, social distancing, hand hygiene, and making sure that you strengthen the immune system. We've got to change the diet. We've got to really move on from all this bad toxins, saturated fats and high sugar and high content that end up people with diabetes and heart disease and end up depressing their immune system. And it can lead to also cancers from so many carcinogens and so many preservatives and so many additives that will alter the food and then will lead to various diseases and leading to more than 130 million Americans with chronic diseases simply from the wrong food that they're ingesting every day. And let's all move towards the Mediterranean diet. I think we kind of touched up on that, and then just everybody knows that you can eat and then lower your blood pressure. You can eat and lower your risk of stroke. You can eat and then also for ladies, lower the risk of osteoporosis. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. You have to go back to it and pound on that. Just fresh fruits and vegetables doesn't have to be expensive, but it is what the body needs, and that's what keep the body strong.
Doctor, we'd like to ask you if you know about the situation that people can get an ID that says they've had both of the vaccinations, number one, number two, and then they would be able to travel? Is there anything about that that you know?
I have it, and they told me when they give me the second dose of the vaccine, make sure you keep that card. If you have to show it, they may ask for it in the airport.
What about having it on your phone? Is that okay?
You can have a digital, of course, picture, as long as you have evidence that you got the vaccination. So that will, get you on the plane, or a negative testing for coronavirus for those who did not get the vaccine yet. Either or, it looks like it's moving fast towards that way, where they said they have as a global passport or health passport, and that's like one of the pages have to do your vaccination status and whether or not you're a risk to get on the flight, health risk, that you could potentially, be, passing infection, even with no symptoms, asymptomatic carrier. So things are moving towards that direction, but what are you going to do about all those new variants? These are going to be so many challenges, I think, for everyone to know. But if you do get vaccination, you better keep a record and evidence that you got the vaccination, because that may impact your travel activities, may impact going into the gym, may impact other things related in life that you would need to have it handy to just in case if you're asked about it.
Okay, so the answer is that it is available. There's some kind of identification that we can get, and that will be accepted by the airlines, or
it's a little card. It's a little card. It has HHS and CC on top, and your name and all your data, and it gives you the 2 dates of the vaccination that's there. So, and then once they put it in the computer, obviously they will have they can cross check on that by whatever indicator, Social Security or any other indicator that this is the case, so that somebody will be allowed on a flight, or like I said, membership to the gym or something along those lines.
All right. So there is something available, and but we got to get the vaccine first. So what's the progress on that? Do either one of you know the progress on getting vaccinated? What's it? Tell us what's going on in Missouri. I think we need to know that first of all. Let's ask about the Midwest of the United States. Dr. Sultan.
Well, people are getting vaccine, not at the rate that they should. I got it, my wife got it, my daughter got it, but my son-in-law didn't get it because he's not in that list as yet. But they're trying to do the best what they can. I think all the lag behind for so many months, they cannot be compensated very quickly. So we know that no unlimited amount of vaccine is not available. People have to wait, and probably any substantial number of people will be vaccinated in Missouri. I think by mid-July. That's the number I'm hearing. But let's see what the progress is.
Okay, so there is some waiting. Was that what you're saying there?
There's plenty of waiting. There's plenty of waiting. Not just a little bit of waiting, but there's plenty of waiting. I mean, you think about this February, and we are talking about substantial number being vaccinated in the next 5 months, which is a long time.
Okay, well, what's the for instance, in my case, I don't know why, but I registered with them. My wife registered, and my son, who has very serious problem with his immune system, he can't even fight off a cold. So he has to go to the hospital. He was in a coma one time just for catching what all of us are just coughing a little bit, you know, and then we go on. And then he had to go, he went to the doctors, went in a coma. He was in there for about 10 days or something like that. So he's with us and he's applied. None of us have been contacted and approved or anything. I don't know what's going on. Can you tell me?
You should follow up with them. You definitely, you and your wife and your son, in a category that will make this priority, you know, to be given the vaccine, and to make sure that you get it, you know, you get the 2 doses without further delay.
All right. Well, I do want to do that, but I didn't know what to do next.
Well, next will be search on the internet and say, how can I get COVID in my area? And you will find, I'm sure you're going to find that information. And you have to call them. They won't call you. So you have to call them, put your name, and get registered. The way I did in Missouri was that there was a number given to me. So I called, left a message. Then the girl called me and she set an appointment for me. I given them that I'm a physician and I'm such and such age, and I come in that category. So she was kind enough to call me back. So basically, I mean, you age-wise, you qualify. So you have to call and just register yourself with it, you know.
One thing very good that they had with the mosques, they actually have now free vaccines for 65 and above. I don't know if you have it in California.
Yeah, we have somebody calling in. Let's take the call right now. And Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
MashaAllah. Do you see we're on the air live tonight? Is this Sister Barbara?
Yes, I am.
All right, sister. Do you have a question for either of the doctors or both?
Yes, I have a question for the doctors, but it's not regarding to the injection for the coronavirus, anything like that. I have a question regarding something called DDD. I've been diagnosed with that recently, and I go through a lot of pain in my body. And I was wondering, because the doctors tell me that there's no cure for that. So the older that I get, the worse the pain gets. So I was wondering if any of you doctors have had any experience with people that have this type of condition, and if you can tell me what it is that can help.
What is the condition? I didn't hear it. What's the condition?
The condition, she is telling us already. It's DD.
DJD?
D?
Degenerative joint disease? Is it?
This generic disc disorder.
Generic disc disorder? Is that what you said?
Degenerative.
Wait a minute, doctors. Hold on. Let me hear what she said. Go ahead, sister. What does the DD? What did you say it was?
DDD stands for dysgenetic disc disorder. It's like arthritis on the bones.
Arthritis on the bones. Okay.
Yeah. Degenerative disease of the spine. Is that of your back spine?
Is that for the spine or your back?
Other joints.
Yes, it's my hips, my lower back.
Lower back. Okay. Yeah. That is one of the very common conditions. You see, from the traditional point of view, I'm going to give you both. See, my practice is environmental allergy. So I'm going to give you from both perspectives. One, typically, in environmental medicine, we try to look for the underlying causes, just give you drugs to cover up. Basically, the symptoms are treated symptomatically, asthma medication, joint pain, and anti-inflammatory medication, high cholesterol medication. These are all symptomatic treatments. You can fight with drugs, you see, that's the way. Or you can look for the underlying causes. So the way I look from the degenerative disease point of view is that it can be something, you may not immediately realize it, but it could be some mineral deficiency, especially magnesium deficiency, that gets involved quite a bit in joint pain, back pain. Number two is the patients may have hidden food sensitivity that causes the degenerative inflammation. And number three, there is something very, what I'm going to tell you is you may not believe. First of all, I'm telling you the major thing to see. But one thing I'm going to tell you is you may not believe. There was a Iranian physician, I'm forgetting his name, and he was in Iran's revolution time. He was put in jail, and over there he started people, all kinds of problems. And one thing he started telling them was, drink plenty of water, drink plenty of water, drink plenty of water. You see, hydration, because this degenerative disc, one of the problems in there is that is less fluid in there, so that's why they collapse and they inflame. Besides what I said, food sensitivity, mineral deficiency, and as you age, your hormones can go down, and so this low hormones in women can also be a contributing factor to degenerative diseases, including the disease of the spine. So as a as a physician, we need to assess the patient completely. But I will give you some simple tips to take care of that.
Doctor, can I interrupt you to ask you a question, please, about this? Because I'd like to put this up on the screen, but I still didn't get what the name of this thing is.
Degenerative disc disease. Degenerative, DEGENERATIV, degenerative disc disease.
All right. Go ahead, doctor.
Okay. So what I would advise is that you take magnesium, about 300, 600 milligram magnesium, along with maybe 300 milligram of calcium, and drink plenty of water, and see over the next couple of weeks or so if you start noticing improvement. Because if you have degenerative disease, it probably is not just limited. I cannot take your history on this, so I have just assumed and give you the pointers that you may look into, that if it is true what I'm saying. Because with degenerative disease, typically you don't just have problem degenerative, but you will have other symptoms like muscle ache, joint pains, low back pain you already talked about, upper back pain, tightness in neck, shoulder muscles, muscle cramping, muscle twitching, muscle aches in arms and legs, and wherever, headaches. If you have some of these symptoms, these are markers for that you may have low magnesium, which will also be contributing to this degenerative disease. So have about 300, 600 milligrams of magnesium. If you get some magnesium, you get diarrhea. If you get too much, you get diarrhea. So you can cut it back. It's not a big deal. If you cannot tolerate some magnesium, you try a different form of magnesium until you find a form of magnesium that you can tolerate. And along with that, calcium. The best form of calcium is calcium citrate. So I said about 300 milligram. And see over the next 2 weeks to 2 months if you notice improvement in any of these symptoms, okay?
There's, I want to add to Dr. Sultan a few other tips that could be helpful to you. There's natural anti-inflammatory, like turmeric, that you could use on daily basis. You could use also black seed, that I have personally have had very positive, results with patients who have general arthritis, not specifically degenerative disc disease, but they have, common variety arthritis. Physical therapy, acupuncture, cupping or hijama therapy to the spots where it's painful. And then you could use topical Voltaren, topical anti-inflammatory cream, like a topical Voltaren cream, not the oral anti-inflammatory drugs that should be avoided. The Advil, Motrin, all this should be avoided. But topical anti-inflammatory, a cream like Voltaren, cupping or hijama, acupuncture, physical therapy, with stretching, exercise, and black seed and turmeric as effective, safe anti-inflammatory, therapies.
Doctor, could you?
I add one more thing to it quickly. Is that when we talk about, it's not just one thing is going to help you. You have to have a combination of 3-4 things to work together. And what Dr. Adil talked about was of the prescription medication, Voltaren for topical. A topical version, non-prescription, you can get is, which is salicylate. You can ask the pharmacist. I'm just blanking out the name right. It's called Myoflex. I'm just blanked out. Myoflex that you can gently apply until rubbed in. You don't have to massage it, and just gently rub in until it gets.
Doctor, could you spell that? What you just said?
Myo, M-Y-O.
M-Y-O.
F-L-E-X.
F-L-E-X. Myoflex. Is that what you
Myoflex,
said?
yes. Yeah. M-Y-O-F-L-E-X.
All right, so you can buy that over the counter, or can you? Huh?
Over the counter.
Topical cream. It's a topical cream.
It's
you can rub it against
a topical cream. Okay, sister, go ahead. We're listening to you. Go ahead.
Let me ask you one question, doctor. Because right now, I've been dealing with that for like about 5 years, and it's getting worse. So the doctors have me on depressive medication because they say that those medicines help you with the chronic pain, and they also have me taking gabapentin every single day, 300 milligrams 3 times a day, and the pain is just don't go away. So what is your perspective when it becomes to consume this type of medicines, depressive medications and gabapentin to control the pain? Do you think that is something that really helps or no?
Yes, sister, let me tell you one thing. If 5 years have taught you something is the most valuable is drugs don't work. Drugs can't fix your problem.
Okay, because we're doctor, I'm sorry, we're out of time. So I would like to ask her to stay on the line with us just for a minute, and then we can hook you guys up and find out more specifics about this. Guys, tune in tomorrow. We're going to have the converts on our program to talk about some of the things from Christianity and from paganism and from other faiths to Islam. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow. So be sure to tune in and stay tuned. Be sure to share this because you don't know who might benefit from it. Okay? All right. And so from all of us here at Guideus TV, we say thank you to our doctors. We appreciate you guys so much. And we encourage everybody to stay tuned and stay guided with
Guideus TV.
All right. Okay. You're watching The Newsroom, Islam Newsroom. The news you want when you want it from the Islamic perspective.
Now we have some websites, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Who is Allah?
Maybe we'll even see somebody enter into Islam.
Excuse me, do you believe in God?
Why do we call him Allah?
One more time, everyone. Okay, good.
These are the ones that we're going to be mailing out. Ilaha. Illah. Allah.
And I bear witness. That Muhammad.
And that's right, we're right across the river from Palestine, as a matter of fact, here in Aqaba. The new moon, the Halal, has been sighted for the month of Shawwal.
When the adhan is called, it doesn't matter where you are. You go and you make your salah. Alhamdulillah.
Now, I think this is something that inshallah ta'ala we'll all be able to benefit from.